Hi guys, it's Tom here. This has got to be one of the most requested questions people ask on YouTube and online forums, and by people who are just starting out or don't have a lot of money saved up, and the question is how to invest your first $1,000 per euros, pounds depending on the country you're in when you're just starting off. People feel that should be able to give you a great head start and enable you to MSAE a lot money, so here's my opinion on it and what you should do with your first $1,000, euros, pounds, and let me first say, it really depends what your plans are and what you want to do and what your current situation is. If you're the type that wants to invest and then leave it to grow like you never had it, or person who really wants to start business, my opinion is going to be different. So I'm gonna try to cover as many of those situations in this video as I can. And even though I'm gonna give you my opinions of what I would do, it honestly comes down to personal preference, and you need to do whatever you feel comfortable with. So my first and best piece of advice for everybody watching it is to invest that first $1,000 in yourself. That will give you the best return in the short term compared to anything else that you could invest in. I know everybody says that, and the reason that they do is that's the truth. You're gonna get a much higher ROI spending that $1,000 learning something new, improving your communication skills, getting a new qualifications, degrees, than investing in almost anywhere else. Like speculating in something that you know nothing about. I would spend it on learning something you really want to do, and now I'm not talking about buying a $1,000, euro, pound course on YouTube or TikTok and making the guy with the Lamborghini even richer. I'm talking about investing it in learning how to do presentations, type quicker, read some books, good business books and self-development books like The Intelligent Investor by Benjamin Graham and Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. These are about investing and managing money, etc. It developing the way that you think about things, and maybe a seminar or course, maybe an extra step you can take, maybe learn how to code. Whatever it is that you do, it should be something that is gonna directly impact your life and career long term. You should use this $1,000 to expand your knowledge on whatever industry you want to see yourself in, and investing in yourself is a great idea. No matter how much money you make, you should always and continually invest in yourself, and I do the same thing myself. And by the way, it doesn't need to be something really expensive. It could be a book which you could get from the library, but you will still have to invest the time in reading and understanding it and implementing the good advice that you derive from it. There is so much info out there, both on YouTube and other resources on the web, that it does not actually need to cost you a lot of money to read the relevant resources. There is so much good content, and watching videos online, there's so much information out there for completely free that I don't recommend spending a load of money, as you don't have to anymore. Take advantage of this mine of information and you can educate yourself at the expense of other people's mistakes. The second piece of advice is for anybody that wants to start a business. I would use that $1,000, euros towards starting the business that you want to be in, and then figure out how to stretch that $1,000 as far as you can to make that business a reality, even if you fail miserably and your business goes up in flames and you lose the $1,000 in a few weeks. I promise you, losing that $1,000 will be the best experience money could ever buy, and that loss right there is going to be worth way more than any college class or any life experience you can ever get. That $1,000 you lose starting a business is gonna save you a lot of money in the future, because it guarantee you're never gonna make those same mistakes and ever again. And my third piece of advice is for someone who wants something extremely passive, who basically just wants to invest the money, forget like it was never even there, and then move on. If this is the case, I would highly recommend a low fee index fund. Vanguard is a good example. Vanguard have quite a few funds, $4,000 minimums, that should give you a good foundation for investing long term. Please bear in mind that this will not make you millions of dollars, pounds, euros by investing $1,000, but historically they've returned between 7 and 9% per year, so you can expect speaking you're gonna make between 70 over a long time span to do very well if you leave the principal there and rely on the compound interest, eighth wonder of the world, to do its thing. With these index funds it's basically just buying it, forgetting about it and moving on and doing something else and then thinking about it again after X amount of years depending on your investing time frame, be that short, medium or long term. These in general in my opinion work very well in the long term. In these funds you can get a lot of diversification by owning a very small amount of a much bigger picture, so I highly recommend these, and also by doing this you're gonna learn a lot about index fund investing and the investment markets in general, so in my opinion it works well in the long term. Shares can go down as well as up. I highly recommend this. So my fourth piece of advice is for someone who wants to learn the stock market and doesn't mind making riskier investments. So with this $1,000 you can start trading individual stocks, and I promise you are gonna learn so much by trading individual stocks with $1,000, I guarantee it. This is actually what I started doing when I was in my 20s. And after saving a $1,000, euros, pounds, I invested in a few different shares, and it was probably one of the most eye-opening experiences for me, as first of all it is your hard-earned money that you are investing, and when you see the share price going down as in the wrong way, you start looking at the information that you can get on companies, i.e. balance sheet and trading statements in the annual reports etc., even more closely, and you get to be able to read between the lines in terms of what the companies are saying, because you didn't invest to lose the money. You invested to make more money, but initially I did not get good results. In trading in general there is what they call the 90-90-90 rule, which in a nutshell means that 90% of new retail investors will lose 90% of their money in 90 days. Generally this is the normal for new traders, so before you look at investing in the stock market, buying shares in a selection of companies and looking at day trading, remember the 90-90-90 rule, and that is that 90% of new retail investors will lose 90% of their money in 90 days. Generally this is the normal for new traders. You can learn how to read like candlestick charts, pattern trading, swing trading, learn different chart techniques and read up about the company in general, look at its P/E rate, price to earnings ratio, read up on all current news about everything to deal with a company and their stock price before you invest. And on many of today's brokers sites you can trade on a dummy account, and I always in my opinion learn how to trade initially this way before you start risking your own money. When you actually have money in shares it becomes so much more real, and you actually get emotional about a stock, which you should NT, and when you're actually invested in it firsthand you deal with yourself getting in your mind thinking a stock is gonna go up when it's going down, learning how sell, learning how to cut your losses, learning how to stop your profits, and maybe don't get too greedy. There's so much that goes into buying and selling stocks, and it's a great learning.